Fleur Hassan-Nahoum. He is the deputy mayor of Jerusalem and a special envoy for the Israeli Foreign Ministry. Fleur, thank you so much for being here. Let's start with the latest reports on the IDF troop withdrawal in southern Gaza. How do you interpret this?
Well, I was speaking to some experts this morning, and in fact, they don't see it as a withdrawal. They simply see it as trying to prepare for the next stage of the battle. The last 4 battalions left in Gaza of Hamas terrorists are in Rafah, and Israel has to go into Rafah. Whatever happens, that's where we need to be. Now,
Israel's taken a series of defensive steps to protect itself from a major attack by Iran, including disabling GPS, evacuating some embassies across the Middle East. From your perspective, though, what are the conditions Israelis are dealing with on the ground right now?
Well, the main thing that we're dealing with is the constant trauma of the hostages being still in Gaza, held in tunnels, from babies to the elderly. That really is the most disturbing thing that we're facing with, of course. And every day, last night, we lost 4 soldiers, 20-year-old boys. And Israel is a very small country, and everybody knows everyone, and everybody's connected to everyone. So every time you have a loss of a young man, a soldier who's defending his country, everybody somehow is connected to that reality as well. So essentially, we are determined, we are resilient, but we are heartbroken at what's happened to our people in the last 6 months.
Yeah, and we also heard about the reports of another hostage held by Hamas that was killed, 47-year-old Israeli farmer. The peace talks, though, this weekend in Cairo, they've all wrapped up, and there's around this potential deal to release the hostages. But how likely are those talks? Are they going to be successful? Is it possible that we could see some of these hostages be released?
Well, really, it's all up to Hamas. Even President Biden made it clear that Hamas, of a party being intransigent here, rejected the last 2-3 offers. They're doubling down, and they claim that they want a ceasefire, but if they really wanted a ceasefire, they'd immediately agree to the deal that creates the situation for a ceasefire. So maybe they're playing a double game. We know they're playing a double game, and we just pray that God will soften their hearts for a second so that we can actually cut a deal and bring back the remaining hostages home to their families.
Let's hope that deal gets done. And interesting to see in the midst of all of this threat from Iran, the President Biden is not only, he hasn't really rallied around Israel. In fact, he's been saying that there should be a policy shift given that they want a ceasefire here. Netanyahu, he opened up in Gaza while demanding an immediate ceasefire. Do you believe that President Biden is unwelcome distraction here to Israel's efforts to win this war? I mean, the U.S. has been watching over this, providing aid, food, as well as arms. But is it a distraction?
Well, I think that the pressure should be on Hamas and their interlocutors and their allies like Qatar. Let's not forget that the U.S. has a military base in Qatar, that Qatar has a lot of financial interests in the United States. And if anybody should be pressured, it's Qatar in order to get the Hamas to cut the deal to release the hostages. Everybody's screaming about a ceasefire. It's very simple. Release the hostages and you'll have a ceasefire. And unfortunately, I think the pressure is being put on Israel rather than being put on the parties that can move it. And of course, Hamas are watching this in glee because they don't have to do anything for Israel to have a ceasefire. There are calls for a ceasefire without any conditions on the release of the hostages. The minute you unlink the release of the hostages to the ceasefire, then that weakens our negotiating position.
And that's a great point, because you see right now with the media, it's focused on Israel and the U.S. and the relation there, and the U.S. is putting pressure on Israel. Shouldn't Hamas be the one that has the focus on right now? They're the ones that could, make this all go away by either surrendering, releasing the hostages. Why is more focus not put on Hamas?
Well, that's a great question. I've been trying to figure that out. Hamas, of course, are a genocidal terrorist organization. So the only way to put pressure on them, remember, the main advantage the Hamas have is that they don't actually care for their people. For them, their people, their innocent people, are part of their defense strategy. So as far as they're concerned, the more dead people they have on their side, the better it is for them. Whereas Israel cares not only for our people, but we also care for their people. So that inherently puts us in a weaker position. And we would hope that our allies would understand that and put the pressure on the countries that are hosting Hamas, training Hamas, and certainly on Iran, that is funding Hamas, training Hamas.
Yeah.
You know, you don't go and release $10 billion to Iran on the week that you want them to pressurize Hamas to release the hostages.
Right. It's a great point. We'll wait to see how this all plays out. Thank you so much for providing such great insight on what's going on over there. Fleur Hassan-Nahoum, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.